Hey everybody, it's Glenn, back in this video with my latest Marvel Legends custom action figure fresh off the workbench, and it's Jean! Now you might be glancing at her and saying, hey Glenn, that's the Rocket Raccoon series Jean from a few years back, not a custom. Well, like a phoenix rising from the ashes, Jean at my hands has been reborn. So on the right we have the Rocket Raccoon series Jean, which when released, like Cyclops and Wolverine, I admit I did swoon over her, but with the way Marvel Legends has progressed in the years since, what with Hasbro's marked improvement with the Lady Legends, their comic book curves have left Jean looking skinny-legged like Professor X has introduced rations at the mansion. So I set about bringing her up to date with her female company. To do so required the sacrifice of Hellcat, but then if you remember my review of her, I do consider her a bump in the road of Hasbro's recent Lady Legends, so won't lose any sleep over her ultimate destruction. I used a heat and pop method to part her at the diaphragm joint. If you're wondering what heat and pop is or how to do it, check out an old video I made called Customizing 101 where I show just how to do it. But if you don't want to do that, I could illustrate the same thing in reverse by inserting the remnants of the Rocket Raccoon Jean into the upper body of Hellcat. And you'll notice I swapped Hellcat's lower legs for those of Jean's, then Hellcat's feet ended up on Storm, who came wearing odd wedges that made her real tricky to stand. With Hellcat's flat feet, she's much less likely to take a tumble off the display shelf. The yellow plastic of Hellcat is very different from the Jean figure, which is more of a mustard yellow, so did require some painting to match them up. Plus, of course, I had to paint on the blue vertical stripe of the costume. Typically, I use Citadel paints from the Games Workshop, but when it comes to coloured metallics, I do resort to Tamiya, who are much better for that purpose. And at the diaphragm joint, I did work over the plastic there with a fine sandpaper to avoid paint rub. So in the big scheme of customs, especially mine, it's not the biggest project. The only sculpting I did was to sculpt the pouches on both sides of her legs, and I did adjust her belt. On the original figure it's loose and hangs quite low. With my custom I cut a section out of the back of it and then glued it in place around her waist. And ultimately I'm really happy with the end result. It seems to resolve the problem that the Rocket Raccoon series Jean had with, excuse me for speaking ill of Jean, but she was a real bitch to get to stand up. And here she is reunited with Scott in the form of my Jim Lee Cyclops custom from last year, and further still with my Jubilee custom that you might remember from a month or two back. Anyway, click the video on the right for my previous custom. This year I admit I have struggled with motivation to customize, so I would appreciate it if you could give this video a big thumbs up just so I know my efforts are appreciated. And I hope to see you next time. Bye.